Anne, and I'm here today with my friend Patty in her sewing studio called Seems to Be. Check out her website, seemstobe.com. .ca, sorry, my bad. And we're going to be playing with our Singer Featherweights. So if you remember, I did a post about my beautiful little Singer Featherweight, and I talked a bit about my friend who introduced me to the Featherweight, and that is my friend Patty. So she let me play on her machine, and then I couldn't get out of my head, and I had to get my own. And so today she's going to be teaching me and you a little bit about the Singer Featherweight, some maintenance, maybe some cool feet and how to use them. And we're just going to have fun. So I wanted to introduce you to my friend Patty.
Hi everybody. So Anne's got her Featherweight. She's entered the dark side of machine collecting. She just doesn't quite realize that. And crafting. So I just want to go over a couple things with the Featherweight because I know there's so many out there, and you can do most of your maintenance at home because they let you get into everything, and it's in the book. They show you exactly where to put the oil. So most of you have an oil container, big one like this. The spout's big. You cannot get a drop out of it. So I went to the local feed supply and bought a syringe for horses with a really hefty needle on the end, and what that lets me have is one drop at a time. So there's a little hack for you. It's much cheaper to buy one of these. I think it cost me $2, and I just draw the oil up into it. You want to make sure you get a big enough gauge needle.
All right, so we're going to lower the camera a little bit so you'll see less of us and more of these beautiful machines.
Okay, give us a second. And we're ready to go?
And we're ready to go.
Most of the Singer machines, the blackhead machines, have beautiful gold ornate decals on them. And if you use a cleanser on them, spray 9, Windex, anything like that, it will strip them. I learned this the hard way. So in order to keep your machine looking really nice and new, you just take sewing machine oil. It's the only thing you use on it. Scraps of flannelette. I'm just saturating a little bit of the cloth there, and you just polish. And it will bring these up, these little Featherweights up, and I've taken some really dirty machines and it takes a lot of elbow grease. This is in actually mint condition, but you just polish.
That is good to know. I was wondering how I could buff this up.
Yep, so you just buff with sewing machine oil. And it's too bad we don't have a really dirty one here because it's amazing. It will take off a lot of the old kind of crud. A lot of the ladies sewed in the kitchen. So I have cleaned machines that have had, you know, cooking oil kind of built up on it, dust. They didn't worry so much about the outside and brought them to looking really, really nice. And then you only put one drop in, and that's where the syringe comes in. And if you look in the book, you unloosen this screw, slide this out, and there is exact oil points in this book. You see that okay? And I find it, I don't know if I can find the page that quick. It says for oiling, and it shows you exactly where to oil it. So you want to put only one drop. So there's one of the holes, and with the syringe, you can actually get one drop. So it'll tell you where to show on the top. There's gears in here. Easy to do. We're not going to do Anne's because she just recently had it done. Afterwards, you tip it to the bottom, and there's a thumb screw here. Remove it just to show you what it looks like underneath. You getting this, Anne, or do you need me to tip it up? And you'll see underneath here, there's some gears. And it'll give you all the points to oil under here. And it makes a huge difference. I found mine had sat for about a year. I hadn't used it, oiled it yesterday, and it went from sounding clunky to just purring like a kitten. So we'll just put this back on. And one of the things they even tell you in the manual is when you're putting this back on, don't over tighten that thumb screw. And just for information too, doesn't want to go back on, Anne, because I'm upside down. Oops.
We can edit that out.
We'll leave it in.
You know how they say,
they tell you
we can quilt that out. We can
Yeah.
edit that out.
They tell you not to over tighten this thumb screw, so I don't know there. So just loosely tighten it, And here's your serial number, and you can look that up online to get an age, approximate age on your machine. So maintenance is important. Part of this too, if you're new to featherweights, is the needle goes in sideways. But you would think like the industrial machines, it goes with the scarf at the needle at the back and the thread ease at the front, but that actually goes in opposite. The flat side of this needle is out here. The round part is there, and you are actually threading from the inside to the outside of the machine, which is really awkward to do because it's so backwards to all of us. Check your belt. Make sure it's running. If you start to put your foot on the gas and this machine doesn't go and you got to spin it to get it started every time, chances are you need a new belt, and they're available from any repair department. Anything else you want to know, Anne, for maintenance?
I think that's got it covered.
Yep. The end comes off here.
Everything's in that book.
Everything's in the book.
Really handy, yeah.
And some of these, if you get one that's been around and just laying in somebody's garage or something, my grandma said, you know, they didn't always have access to the things nowadays that we do. There's no corner store. It was hard. So sometimes you'll find these old machines, including the bigger blackhead and the treadles, they'd actually oil them with 3-in-1 oil, which gets really thick and gunky. And cooking oil, I've heard of them done with cooking oil in the past because they used what they had. So if you get one and it's really gunked up, I suggest you take it into someone who repairs the older machines and get them to do a thorough cleaning on it and get you set up and ready to go. And then home maintenance is all you'll need until if you knock the timing out or something. You really don't need to be taking these in for a tune-up very often. For this little machine, since most of you want to quilt, this is just a generic ankle. It's just for snap-on feet, and it will actually fit on this. It's for a low shank, and they're about $13, $14 at the pretty well any shop that you want. I bought this one at Central Sewing on the West End, and then I got this little generic 1/4-inch foot because I wanted to quilt with it. So I was so excited because by having this ankle that will fit, just screw this on. Now I have to take the screw right out and put this on because unlike your domestic machine, I just had carpal tunnel surgery, so my hand is slow to work. Sorry. Unlike your domestic machine, this doesn't lift higher. You can usually pull this up higher to get these on easy. And this foot, these are like cheap feet. I'm just putting the bar back in. I need to glue it with some crazy glue because it's coming out. And then I can just snap on. So I could get a zipper foot. I could get all different kinds of feet. And it works perfect. I've got my 1/4-inch. Listen to that baby purr. I've got my 1/4-inch foot there. Another foot that I bought for 1/4-inch, and this doesn't snap on and off. It's a solid bar, but it had the guide, and it's, I think, made by Sew Right, but again, I just bought it off the generic rack at a store, and it just goes on. It's got the guide, if you prefer the guide, and it goes on the same as this one did, as the ankle did, and you just screw it in with the post and you've got a 1/4-inch foot. So you don't have to buy special featherweight feet for the featherweights. They will work with any low shank foot, Anne. So you can save yourself some money.
Interrupt here for 1 second to say that I learned something very valuable from this particular segment about the clip-on feet or snap-up feet or whatever you want to call them, because my FAF 4.2 has the snap-on feet, and these big fingertips get really frustrated trying to reach under the presser foot and snap the feet up onto the bar with the feed dogs in the way. And there's a lot of profanity that gets experimented with when I am trying to put on, say, the tiny little zipper foot. And I did not know that all I had to do was lower the presser foot onto the foot and it would snap on perfectly. So I'm a little mind blown here, and yeah, back to Patty.
So I went to the local shop and I picked up a roller foot. low shank. Anything low shank will work. So if I want to do vinyl or a lightweight leather, these machines will handle it. Just put a leather needle in. I got an open-toed foot because if I'm doing some rouage applique or whatever, and I want to have a clearer vision, I want a foot that I can see. I sew with the open-toe foot a lot on all my machines. So I just picked up extra feet. Anything low shank works. And then there's really cool stuff came with the machines. So this is a ruffler. You know, I've had one for years, never used it. Pulled this out of this machine the other day just to see. So this part goes over the needle bar and this part hooks in if you've never used a ruffler. So you've got to kind of work it around. I'll get my fingers out of the way once I screw it in, Anne.
Notice the nice little scroll on the plate. Very fancy.
My sewing machine's name is Gladys. Gladys Johnson. That's my mother-in-law, and she was the only owner before I got it, so it's only been 2. So there's the ruffler on. So you'll see, come around this side, Anne, and you can see right here it goes over the needle bar. This is the needle screw. Make sure you never over tighten that because you can strip this little piece out, and that's an expensive repair. So here for the number of ruffles you set on how many, and that's how far apart. So we'll just put it on the 6. Not sure what the star means, didn't read the book. So I've got the fabric in and I've got it started. There's this little plate down here. It kind of goes under and tucks a tuck in. So it's a ruffler. It does not actually gather, it puts a little pleat in. So I've got it on number 12 and it's doing 12 stitches and then taking a tuck. So we can go where it does 6 stitches and takes a tuck. Or, I'm running out of fabric, but we'll do 1 stitch and it takes a tuck. So it does little tucks. So great for those heirloom type projects, you know, if you want to get that old-fashioned tuck look into your lace onto a christening gown or ruffled for curtains.
Cool.
Okay?
That is like a high-tech piece of equipment right there.
It is. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the ruffler. It kind of gives you an idea of what that's for. Bet you my grandma would just love this lime green fabric. I'm sure they didn't have much. This is a bias foot. I haven't got any bias cut, but everyone knows how a bias works, I'm assuming. We'll do it on the next video. We'll do the bias foot where it goes through and it actually binds along the edge, maybe of an apron. We'll have aprons by then made. We'll make aprons on our machine, Anne.
Then we can be truly dressed
the regular
like we're sewing
straight
in the
stitch
50s.
foot. Yeah, the regular straight stitch foot.
Patty wanted me to put a bow in my hair today.
Well, it says you should always have a bow in your hair and be prepared for when your husband comes home so you look good. But I don't have my bow yet. Okay, this foot is a tucker and it goes up and down with this. The needle bar actually works on there and you can undo this. So they tell you in the book to put 1 drop of oil into there if it's not moving freely. You don't want to put more because if you gunk this up, it's coming right down on the fabric. And this is for doing pin tucks. So it goes onto the machine. Look at that. I didn't have to take the whole screw out. It goes onto the machine. And then there's 2 screws. This slides it along. The whole thing along. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Doesn't want to move now. Had it moving yesterday. Well, we're going to leave it there. This moves the tuck. So that's how far in the tuck, pin tuck goes, how big it's going to be. And they're numbered. This has all explanation in the book. Let me just cut some fabric. My grandma would have died to have a rotary cutter too.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And then you place your fabric under here, the top bar, and then you've got a little ridge here you can see, and it's quite sharp. Not sharp enough to cut fabric, but it's quite sharp, and you get in up against your edge. Your guide is right in there. Ouch, those bulbs get hot. First thing you want to do is find a source for an LED bulb for this little sucker because you're always burning yourself. Oh, and one of the other things, when you turn the light out, It does not turn the power off on these old machines. So you need to unplug them from the wall when you're not using them.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
So we're sewing along and we're getting a small pin tuck. I won't go the whole length. Bring this to the upper. If you don't have this take-up lever up to its highest point, quite often you'll get 2 threads coming out of the bobbin area, and that's something people ask about quite a bit. So I just turn the hand wheel and it always goes towards you. You will jam your machine if you turn it backwards a little bit until it releases that second thread. So there's a little hint for any sewing machine. So that little guide here has put, you probably can't see it, it's got just a little ridge. Didn't make a very big one, but you can see it right there. I can see it with my bare eyes. So then that's where my next tuck would be. So you'd fold and put it in. I never did get this to go yesterday, but that's the theory behind the foot. And then you would go in and do your next pin tuck and it would mark and you'd carry on across.
So it actually is marking while you're putting it through.
It's actually marking as you're going through. This is going, if you watch, we'll pull the thread out of the needle so we don't jam the machine. And you watch as it goes, it comes down, it presses and comes up, and that fits into, I think, a little groove under there. I didn't look to see, but it actually puts like a little mark, a little,
cool.
But not a physical mark, just kind of a fold mark,
okay,
to tell you where to fold. So you'll get where your
so
next
they're
pin
evenly
tuck goes.
Spaced.
So you're evenly spaced. So that's what
right
the pin
on.
tuck foot does.
Right on.
Okay. And we'll take this one off. I got to practice more with this foot. These are kind of alien to me. I've owned the Featherweight, made a king size quilt on it, done a lot of straight stitching, but I hadn't actually played with all the feet until Anne suggested we do these videos. And then I thought, I better learn. Okay, so we figured out the hammer, and that's this. And there's a reason some of these feet have gone obsolete. Anne and I were just discussing, because they're not the easiest to figure out or to use. So I have ironed under, could be a 1/4 inch, whatever, just to give a bit of a finish. And it comes down onto the foot, slides under this guide, up and around. Now I could see me using this foot. Like Anne was going, yeah, I couldn't see me using this foot, but I could see. And I want to look through this hole and make sure I'm going to see, actually catch the edge. And then it's just a case of put the foot down. And I'm getting a beautiful hem just stitched right along the edge. I can see me pulling this machine out and using this if I was hemming some fine linens or a christening gown, something like that, because you're getting a very precise hem.
That is a very precise hem,
gorgeous
precise
stitch.
Beautiful. Well, of course, it's a beautiful stitch.
And I can run flat out. And it's easy and it's staying straight, which sometimes I don't.
Are you saying that I need this foot to stay straight, Patty? Is that what you're trying to say?
Possibly.
Possibly. Have you been inspecting my hems?
Nope.
Or?
But look at that. That is gorgeous.
Dream hem on the Singer Featherweight. Look at that. Pink thread on green fabric. Everybody should try this. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks to my friend Patty for being my guest star on this video and showing us all these cool things. Oh, the other thing was the not turning your wheel backwards.
Always forward.
So, yeah, I didn't really know about that either. I've been sewing since I was 9. Anyway, had my old vintage faff out the other day and I was sewing on it. Wanted to move my needle back on the fabric just like a hair, not a full back stitch. So automatically went to turn the dial just a hair backwards. As I'm doing it, I'm remembering Patty saying, don't do that, it'll jam your machine. I'm like, oh, it's just a hair. Really? It's a hair. Went to sew again, machine was jammed. So she knows her stuff. Listen to the advice of people who know these things. If you must try it out for yourself, go ahead. But when your machine gets jammed, you can check out maybe the next video and she'll show you how to fix that. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Patty.
For coming, Ann. Thanks for coming to the studio.
I'm just happy to be here. We're going to move on to some other craft, and you may end up seeing videos about that too, depending on how they turn out. So, have a great day everybody. Talk to you soon.
Take care. it appears.
All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you learned some cool things, whether it's about your Singer Featherweight or about your own sewing machine, like how to get your snap-on feet onto your presser bar easily.
I'm sorry, that's just
5
too funny.
years. 5 years I've had my machine. 5 years I've been wrecking my fingers on those feed dogs. Okay.
I want to just say how important it is to make sure when you buy a machine that the store offers lessons and that you attend those lessons, because that's where you would learn how to do these things. I know you've been sewing for a number of years, but there's always something new to learn. And now getting to know your machine lesson is very important no matter what model you buy, including your Featherweight. So Anne's here for her getting to know your Featherweight today.
There you go.
There's my vent.
All right.
And that's a lot cheaper than the $9-10 at the stores for the oilers.
I'm doing my best to stand here with my needle phobia watching this syringe go up. Okay, blooper out, back to normal.
Okay, so most of the blockhead machines, your treadle machines, your Featherweights have this beautiful ornate gold. If you use a cleanser on it, Windex, spray 9, stop laughing at it.
Somebody just got a message.
If
Okay,
blooper
out.
Okay.
Okay, go back.
Are you working? For the third time.
Interrupting for the third time. I'm watching you do that and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Things that I just assume that everybody knows.
Exactly.
Everybody knows this. That's what makes me awesome.
Now, if I had been mad enough, I could have YouTubed, is there a better way? But I didn't see. I'm like, well, they snap on, so I must just snap them on, right? And the big ones are...
I catch people in lessons all the time.
Frick. It's still recording.
I picked up a roller foot in case I'm doing something like vinyl or something along that line, lightweight leather. This machine, as small as it is, can handle that. This. I think I better say that again. We need to start over. Okay. And if all goes right and I got it together right, it should jam solid. I'm not starting without you, okay? Are you ready? Introduce us.
We're ready.
Okay.
Hi, it's Anne, and I am here today with my friend Patty of Seems to Be Sewing Studio. And as you know, I just got my little Singer Featherweight. If you guys watched the video on my page, you saw how excited I was about that. Well, I would not probably have it without my friend Patty, because I was out here one day and she very kindly pulled out her Featherweight and let me play on it and got me hooked. And I couldn't get out of my head, so I got my own. And now she's going to show me some things that can be done with all the cool feet that I have no idea how to use. I could read the manual, but this is way more fun. And she's going to talk to you about some maintenance, because she's been using a Featherweight way longer than I even knew they existed. So we're going to pull the camera down after I let Patty say something, and I'll stop talking for a minute, and then we're going to focus on the machines. Welcome,
You're
Patty.
going to let me talk?
I'm going to let you talk.
Oh, okay.
What would you like to say, Patty?
I don't know.
Tell the folks. Tell the folks about yourself, Patty. Okay, come on back.
Oh my god, I'm over 60. I gotta go pee now. I can't laugh that hard and not go pee.
Oh, that blooper's totally staying in.